Is the Dish Network SuperDISH still relevant in 2024? Let's find out. Here is my rooftop setup. Got 3 dishes mounted to my standing seam metal roof. Have the SuperDISH 105 assembly with the DVB-S stacked L&B from the SuperDISH 121 mounted in the middle. I took the cover off, got it retuned so that way the haystacks on the spectrum analyzer look adequate. The feed is rotated 45 degrees and that gives me the circular polarization. And not a whole lot going on here other than if this was to be expanded to the entire eastern arc, I would need a second SuperDISH to do the bird at 72.7 degrees. You can also see I've taken off the cover off of the 300 LNBF because I also retuned that, although at the time it's only 2 megahertz off. And here we are. Let's show you the signal. Since the Dish LMBs cannot get enough power from the satellite receiver I'm using this Dish Pro Plus 44 to insert power. I have ports 1, 3, and 4 going to each of the LNBs. And the pass-through is going out these 3 white cables into my ProView 7100. The ProView 7100 is configured for SNMP, and that is where I have all 3 tuners being monitored. It is currently raining, and as you will see the signal shortly, you'll see why the warning light is red, because we have not locked signals on all 3 tuners. These ProViews are always a little touchy if you buy them on eBay because most sellers do not know what they are selling. And looks like we got a power outage. This one was fortunate to have all 4 tuners available. Some of them only have 1 tuner. However, this one is only licensed for 1 single transport stream. So even though I can't do much on that regard, I can check all 4 tuners, and all 4 tuners can be monitored at SNMP. And I believe this also has failover capabilities as well on the input. Here's the ProView 7100 web interface. Here we have my 4 satellite inputs, a few ASI and gigabit. Even though I can only do 1 transport stream, these other 7 can get activated. Harmonic doesn't like to talk to random people to get things licensed and featured, even though from a professional perspective I talk to them all the time and have spent hundreds of $1,000s with them in the past. Got the 4 inputs on the satellite, 3 of them being used for this testing. Click on these, properties, modulation standard, DVB-S, 20 megasymbols per second inverted, QPSK 7/8. Just pretty basic stuff in here. L-band frequency of 1.93 gigahertz. And here we have a good locked signal, carrier to noise, no link margin, bit error rate, and what it is actually receiving. And we know this is all good, and just taking that data via SNMP and plugging into InfluxDB and showing on Grafana. Maybe in a future video, I will take some of this and start manipulating it to see what would happen if I put in unscrambled PIDs into this and feeding it into my dish receiver. If you've noticed, in an upcoming clip, I do have a modulator for satellite DVB-S, and that will be my little trick, but we'll see what happens. This is the view from the window of how heavy it is raining right now, but the signal outage has occurred way before it started raining. We had some very thick cloud cover before it started coming down. Perhaps it was going down at an angle or at a place that is within the look angle of the antenna. Looking at the 4 antennas and how they are looking, here's the SuperDISH on the top left. the 1000.2 as well as the Dish 300. Here we have all three of them in the same chart overlaid on top of each other. We can see that the SuperDISH is this green line, and it has worked the best during the duration of this time. This is a 15-minute window, so looking at here, at this time here where we had signal return at 1:34 p.m. and a signal on this blue, which is 203, the Dish 300. Is that 3? Didn't return until 1:36 p.m. So we have a good 2 extra minutes of watching time on the SuperDISH. And now we can see that all three of them have lost signal. Depending on results of this, I will put some L&Bs for dish on my 10-foot unimesh dish that I have out my other window. That should be a good project. I have a cable all ready to go, and I will compare this to the SuperDISH on the Western Arc birds to see how well the signal performs. It is now past 2 o'clock, and we have received a signal back a while ago. Here is how things have turned out. SuperDISH has returned the first, followed by the 1000.2, and finally the Dish 300. And we can see how they came back slightly after 2:10 p.m. And SuperDISH actually works pretty good to a certain point, and then the signal from the 1000.2 eventually becomes better and is the best. And that will maintain a 0.5 dB link margin better than the other two dishes.